Hi everyone, and welcome to Comics from the Multiverse, the DC Comics podcast from the Mail Fuzz Network. I'm Peter, and joining me as always is Matt.
What's up?
And Connor.
Hey guys.
Connor's a little bit out of breath. Yeah, you're a little bit out of breath. The reason why Connor's out of breath is because just before the show started, a moth invaded his room, and he spent a good couple of minutes killing it. We'll now take you to audio and footage of the incident right now. Right.
Oh shit, hang on, let me just get rid of this fuck off giant moth.
Look at how big his hair is from the back. When he turns red, it's just this big mushroom or ginger. Look at it!
Well, this is an exercise in futility.
This is...
I can't follow it quick enough.
I'm glad this is recording.
For those who might be watching at home, he's searching for another ginger.
Can you see this moth?
This is so good on the outtakes at the end.
God,
Yeah.
fucker. Oh shit, it's not dead.
Now that we're back, we are going to talk about comics, and this week we have the following DC comics to talk about. We've got the new title, I can't speak today. Blue Beetle Rebirth issue 1, but we also have Detective Comics 939, Action Comics 962, Wonder Woman issue 5, The Flash issue 5, Batgirl issue 2, Titans issue 2, Deathstroke issue 1, Hellblazer issue 1, and Hal Jordan in the Green Lantern Corps issue 3. Those last three, of course, are all part of the weekly tradition that is Connor's Corner.
It's become quickly infamous.
Yes, although admittedly one of them was by accident because Matt just didn't have time to read Deathstroke. But there you go, that's what's on the docket for today. But before we get to that, we should make a quick little detour to solicits, because we got the full DC solicits for the month of November. And the first thing, we mentioned this last week because we got a couple of the early ones. We got annuals in the 5th week in November, so that's great. We actually have books all month, which is lovely.
Finally.
So I'm just going to read out what's coming each week in November, and then we'll point out one or two highlights at the end that are worth noting. So coming in November 2nd, we have Aquaman issue 10, Batman issue 10, Cyborg issue 4, Green Arrow issue 10, Green Lanterns issue 10, Justice League issue 8, Nightwing issue 8, and Superman issue 10, as well as Hawkman and Adam Strange Out of Time issue 2. Oh, and Midnighter and Apollo issue 2. I had a page change, I thought I was at the end. Plus, also coming out that day is a one-shot called Catwoman Election Night issue 1, which is co-written by Meredith Finch, so don't get too excited.
I was proper excited. I read, Catwoman, new thing. It's like, I've been missing some Catwoman content. And then I got to Finch, and I was like, for fuck's sake. Apparently the other co-writer's pretty good, apparently. But do I care anymore?
Maybe they've given Finch like an apprenticeship, right? You're going to work under this writer and learn.
Yeah, someone can actually teach you how to do something properly.
Also, at the end of my list on that day, we have... I've got this colour coded as well. This is orange, and what that means is that it's part of Connor's Corner, and that is Harley Quinn issue 7.
Yeah. Proud to have that in my corner.
Yeah. Then on the 11th of September... we have Action Comics 967, All-Star Batman issue 4, Batgirl and the Birds of Prey issue 4, Deathstroke issue 6, Detective Comics 944, The Flash issue 10, New Superman issue 5, Suicide Squad issue 6, Supergirl issue 3, Superwoman issue 4, Teen Titans issue 2, Wonder Woman issue 10, and then in Connor's Corner, Hal Jordan, the Green Lantern Corps issue 8, and Red Hood and the Outlaws issue 4.
Well, that's a much more of a maybe.
If Connor's still reading it by then, he will have to be excommunicated from the podcast.
Wait, which one?
Red Hood.
Oh, okay. Well, look, I'm reading Red Hood until I get an issue with the team together being a team, not versus. I'm not sure how long that'll take, though. I'm a little bit concerned how much I'm getting myself in for here.
Issue 12 is when they finally team up.
Yep. Wouldn't surprise me from the writer who must not be named.
Yeah.
Alright, so after me losing my breath on the length of the last week, the 16th of November has Aquaman issue 11, Batman issue 11, Cyborg issue 5, Green Arrow issue 11, Green Lanterns issue 11, Justice League issue 9, Nightwing issue 9, Superman issue 11, Trinity issue 3, Raven issue 3, and Harley Quinn issue 8 over in Connor's Corner. And then 23rd of November, we have Action Comics 968, Batgirl issue 5, Batman Beyond issue 2, Blue Beetle issue 3, Deathstroke issue 7, Detective Comics 945, The Flash issue 11, Suicide Squad issue 7, Titans issue 5, Wonder Woman issue 11, Vigilante Southland issue 2, and then in Connor's Corner we have the Hellblazer issue 4 and Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps issue 9. And thankfully the fifth week of November only has 3 books, 2 that we knew about already, which is Batman Annual Issue 1, Superman Annual Issue 1, and the one we didn't know about, also bolstering up that last week in November, is a one-shot called New Talent Showcase Issue 1, which is an anthology book which is about 80 pages, costs $8, and is basically a bunch of stories from all these new writers that are all up and coming and don't have...
It's all the people that went through the creative workshop that DC ran last year, right? Or earlier this year?
Yeah. I think that's what it said in the solicit, yeah.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to that. I think it could be an interesting way of seeing who to keep an eye on.
Maybe, yeah. I think it's a good thing to throw in this fifth week that's different from an annual. And I think it's at least going to be interesting. Like, I mean, even if half of it's garbage, the other half might be really good. I mean,
there's bound to be at least one standout thing, right?
Because
a lot of these anthology books, the Legend of Tomorrow one they got going at the minute. Most of it, I think there's 4 stories. 3 of them are average to good, but then there's one that's absolutely fantastic and stands above the pack. So you'd expect there'll be one good one, at least.
Yeah, you'd hope so. There's a Batman story in there, there's a Superman story, I think there's a Wonder Woman story, there's a Kyle Rayner story.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah, I know, that's there. There's a Hawk Girl story. So, I mean, at least there's a varied bunch of things. So, no, that's November. It's a pretty packed month. There's not a lot of new stuff. That one-shot and the Catwoman one-shot are the only 2 new things. And if I was to guess, I'd imagine that December will be similar, and we won't get any new books proper until January now.
I'm okay with that. Give everything a good, even the latest stuff to start, give it a few months to get going, and then introduce a second wave, so to speak.
Yeah,
I'm not even really complaining. I'm just... That's my expectation now.
Yeah.
So, no, that's the solicits. Those solicits are getting so long now, I don't even know if it's worth me reading all the titles like that. I think that's just an endurance test more than anything for my voice.
Yeah.
But I think that'll do us. I don't think there was anything overly noteworthy in the descriptions for the solicits. It was mostly just, this story arc part 3 or part 4.
Some nice covers that you should definitely just go and check out for yourself.
Some nice covers, yeah. The Superwoman cover is quite nice. In fact, the Supergirl cover is also quite nice. So, alright, let's go on to some books then. Let's talk about some comics. So, as always, we're going to start off with the new book, if there is one, that is, but this week there is one, and that is Blue Beetle Rebirth issue 1. And obviously, for all the books, while we talk about them, spoilers, because what else are we going to talk about? So use the timestamps to jump around to your heart's content. So Blue Beetle Rebirth issue 1, Keith Giffen and Scott Kolins is on the art. Now, I will say that before we talk about this, that I have never read a Blue Beetle comic before. This was a first for me.
I read the New 52 stuff, and I caved on the Comixology sale and bought the 2006 run that James was going on about.
Yeah, it's supposed to be the best version.
Yeah, and I believe it's similar to this one, and it's a kind of a continuation of that almost. Did you read the 2006 run yet, or is that just...
No, I only bought it this morning.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, that was so. Blue Beetle in this Jaime Reyes was DC's response to kind of Spider-Man, where he's this teenager with I'm trying to think of the right term because the spider's not an insect, but basically insect kind of driven powers and trying to fit his life in with superheroing. So it was much beloved until the New 52.
Well,
and then it changed.
To quote Bill Bailey, spiders are not insects, but in a war between humans and insects, they'd probably side with the insects.
You know what? I hate to say it, but Peter just went up in my respect. Anyone who can bring in some Bill Bailey stuff just goes up a notch.
Yeah, if you don't know who Bill Bailey is, he's a English comedian who sings as well as cracks jokes at his stand-up gigs. And there's a fantastic song called Insect Nation.
Nation, yeah.
Well worth checking that out on YouTube if you want to hear what I was just referencing. But, no.
But so Jaime Reyes became Blue Beetle after the death of Ted Kord, which kicked off Infinite Crisis. So they haven't been, like, around each other. So this was the first time where we're getting, like, a mentor-student relationship for Jaime, I think. Granted, I haven't read the series. I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's the first time.
This is also the first time I'm hearing that his name is just not Jamie.
Yeah.
Really? I'm sure Matt's been saying it like that the whole time we've been doing this.
I didn't remember. I just thought it was Jamie, but Matt said it like 5 times in the last 30 seconds, so it's kind of
he's Mexican, right? Or like,
yeah, Mexican American.
Yeah.
Latino.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm sure I remember the New 52 stuff specifically saying Mexican family.
Most likely. He lives in El Paso, and it's spelled Jaime, which I always read as Jaime. Unless it's in Game of Thrones, then it's just Jamie, but that's because George R. R. Martin is weird with language. But anyways, I digress. Blue Beetle. So, Pete, carry on.
All right. I kind of liked it.
I'll go on stuff out. I really liked it.
Is that what you wanted from me, Matt?
Yeah. Well, I don't want to take over hosting duties. That's all you were.
Yeah. So the book is basically just a sort of normal morning in Jaime. Is that how I'm pronouncing it?
Yeah, Jaime.
Jaime.
You can call him Jamie. I mean, it all depends. This is one of those classic comic things where I could read a name wrong my entire career, and then I'll hear somebody talk about it, and I'll be like, "Is that how you say that?"
Well, for perspective,
it's a whole ration Raz, isn't it?
Well, for perspective here, there was a guy who used to work where I worked, whose name was Jorge, right? But obviously it was spelled like George with a J, and he wanted all of us to call him George because he thought it was weird all of us walking around calling him Jorge. So he actually chose for us to call him George. So maybe it's like that. I don't know. But anyway.
Anyways, Jaime, Jamie, Blue Beetle.
It's a normal sort of morning in his life. He's going to school, and Ted Kord calls like, "Hey, by the way, there's something going down. Get your ass over here." And he's complaining he has to skip out in class again. He's going to get in trouble. But meanwhile, there's a lot of banter between him and his friends who are bickering, and he goes off.
This is something I like. I like that his friends are in on it already. There's none of that like hiding it from his friends.
Oh yeah, it's already they're already in on it. As soon as it's brought,
they know what's going on.
Because
cool.
One of them even offers, "Oh, do you want me to take your bag while you go and deal with this?" And he's like, "Nah, I can put it on the ship. It's fine." Like,
yeah. But I did like how they just threw us into it. There was no they gave us little pieces of it in the Rebirth special.
Well, it's interesting you bringing that up, Matt. You're skipping ahead, but we'll talk about it now.
Well,
this is the first time this has happened, really. That where one of these Rebirth new series, whether it's the Rebirth issue or not, has one of those like scenes from that Rebirth one shot, that special, has just flat out became a scene in the comic later on. The scene, of course, we're talking about, if you remember back in the Rebirth one shot, we see a scene where Ted and Jaime are arguing about kind of arguing. He's like, "I don't really want to be Blue Beetle. Can you please just figure out a way to take it off?" And he's like, no, this is great. You're a superhero. What are you complaining about?" And then Dr. Fate shows up and tells him it's magic and not actually alien technology. And this scene takes place in this comic. It's in the middle of this story. And I thought that was very interesting. Not so much for anything in this comic. I mean, it fits. It's fine and great. Nothing wrong with it. But what it makes me wonder is some of the other scenes in Rebirth's one shot
to come
that I'm now thinking about, specifically the one with the atom. Felt like it was in the middle of a story.
Yep.
Yeah.
I could see the one that teases the Legion being maybe the start, or even the JSA. Like
the JSA one, I was just gonna say. Yeah.
I could feel any of those like being like in the first issues of a new.
Because they always felt like snapshots of something anyway. I think we mentioned that when we covered it way back in the first episode.
And we're all talking. All of these come from I think the same section too, which is the second section. Of what's going on now.
And if that was like a list of promises almost, and this is the first one to be fulfilled, then
Yeah.
Get
The
hype.
only other comic that's been similar to this was the Flash one.
Yeah.
That was a little bit different though, because it was like the same character like moving on, and it was just kind of recapping it. You know, it was.
Yeah, but it played with it still had the same moment in there. It still played to that moment.
But what Pete's saying is that it's not just a snapshot of.
Yeah.
We didn't focus the camera in on that very moment and capture it like this right here, and but yeah. So, but my main point was going to be like, there's no setup of exactly who Ted Kord is, who Jaime/Jamie is. It's, you know, they just throw us in that, except that he's the mentor. He's an inventor, billionaire guy, kind of Tony Stark adjacent.
Which,
and
although he's got a lot more sort of it's less like a sarcastic.
He's more just excitable.
Yeah, it's more like a genuine excitement of doing what he's doing, rather than, oh, I'm a cynical rich guy who, you know.
Yeah.
I have to say, like, while I agree, Matt, your point was great, like, it does just throw us in. I would be interested to hear from anyone who doesn't know these characters at all, and if they just pick this up as their first comic sort of thing.
I'm kind of in that camp. Like, I've never read.
But sure, you've never read them, but you know who Ted Kord. You have like.
I know the
knowledge
name.
Of the DC
I know Kord Industries. You know, and like I know tidbits like that. Because to Matt's point, yeah, you do get thrown in here. I think there's enough here that, at least for now, in issue 1, I'm like, okay, right, I'm following. I have no idea who this evil chick is at the end, but like, you know, I'm following along. Like, he's the mentor, he's the teenager, doesn't really want to do what he's doing, and yeah, I get the Spider-Man comparison because he does feel kind of Spider-Man-y.
They even have that panel, you know, where he suits up to jump in, and it's almost like he's swinging towards the.
Even the suit's kind of like Iron Spider-esque.
Yeah.
Yeah, the era. I mean, 05, 06.
But what I will say is, though, is I do hope we do get a bit more of like who they actually are, and maybe a bit more of the backstory over the arc. You know, just to like fill me in on exactly how Ted Kord stopped being the Blue Beetle, for example, and things like that. Give me those.
Yeah, it's worth knowing this is just it's just a rebirth. It's not even the actual issue 1, so I can see them not wanting to give away too much important stuff like that in case anyone doesn't pick this up.
Because see for the first like few pages, I was thinking, oh, this is another one of these ones that's just like issue 1. Kind of like how Batgirl and the Birds of Prey, that rebirth issue is just issue 1 of the series, really. You had to kind of
same for Green
that.
Arrow.
Same for Green Arrow. First few pages, I was thinking this was going to be that, but then by the time I got to the end, I'm like, oh no, they actually found a way to sort of. Because essentially all this really was is he goes to this diner where these two henchmen are.
Well, not a diner. It's their version of Starbucks, $1, which always cracks me up because that is such my era of when I got into comics. Was they used to have these fake ads for like $1 and Big Belly Burger and whatnot. So yeah, and the fact that it's Giffen doing it, that was kind of the era where they were letting him do fun things like his Metal Men and stuff. So I thought it was funny that it's $1, and that's where these two bad guys, what are they, Ruin and Rack?
Yeah.
Rack and Ruin are just trashing the place. Yeah. So
whilst philosophizing.
Yeah. Philosophizing.
That word.
I gotcha. That's fine.
And ruining metaphors and all sorts of things. I mean, that was the thing that really stuck out to me in this issue, is just how playful the banter was between the two villains, between Ted and Jaime, between Jaime's friends, like even his mum and the sister, like all of it was very quick, you know, fired back and forth. And that was what I liked more than anything else about it. I did like the tone overall, because it did feel like an Ultimate Spider-Man kind of vibe.
It's very much traditional, like a teenage romp sort of thing, isn't it?
Yeah. Which we're going to kind of have the Supergirl, but there's not too much of that elsewhere in the DC Rebirth lineup. So
I don't think DC's had it for a while, really. I can't remember the last.
Since really Teen Titans, when they were actually teens, like when you had the Johns relaunch, which dealt with their personal lives.
We definitely didn't have anything in New 52, did we?
No, and that's the thing that we're supposed to, that whole Young Justice line, you know, but nothing really added up. Like Superboy, it felt, you could tell like these were middle-aged guys writing stories about teenagers that don't really spend much time around them, whereas I feel like Giffen does kind of like.
Even if he doesn't, he can tap into that mindset still.
Yeah, he's just a teenager. What happened is that he started writing this in 06 when he was about 5, and now he's in his teens, so he gets teenagers like really well.
Giffen's like 60-something, Pete.
That was a joke, Matt.
Gotcha. I don't know where you're going on that. That's where I was like,
I was making a New 52 that's mush the Age of the Robins, like, kind of thing.
See, I didn't get that either.
Yeah, thanks, Hunter.
Oh well.
But no, like, so it's good that is with Supergirl and with this, hopefully with Teen Titans, because we're getting Wally and Flash. You know, he seems to be taking a bigger, as Williamson's story is progressing, Wally's becoming a bigger part. We know he's going to have a part in Teen Titans.
It's worth mentioning that the first few pages of Teen Titans, a preview of that went up today on the interwebs.
It looks
Look at
fantastic.
And I had a glance at it. I always make a point of not actually reading the dialogue and stuff. I just like to glance at the art. But the one thing I did notice at the end of like the fourth page, whatever the last one was, new Wally, Kid Flash, like trips or whatever, and he falls right in front of Damien's feet, and Damien makes a quip, and that was the last thing you seen in the preview. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm looking forward to this. This is
nice, yeah.
The art is very good though.
Good.
I don't know what crazy voodoo magic Ben Percy's doing to get all the best artists between his two books, but somehow he's wrangling
He
them.
must be like a artist writer to where he's just like, look, it doesn't have to be exact in the script, just hit the spirit of it.
It's none of this. Do you know what it is?
Yeah.
It's his incredible deep voice where he just speaks to them on the phone and they're like, yeah, I'll do it. That's all it is. They can't refuse it. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad for Percy being able to do more fun stuff. Because Arrow, while being fun, he's ruminating in the dark right now with the whole human trafficking aspect of the burning and whatnot.
What are you talking about? That's light-hearted, good fun for all the family.
So we were on Blue Beetle?
Blue Beetle, yes, that's what we're talking about.
But anyways, and don't take the digression as that it's less. It's a rebirth, and I'm definitely interested in hearing more. I love the idea of Blue Beetle being a legacy character, and Ted Cord is one of those characters coming out of Infinite Crisis. Like, he is more important dead than he ever was alive, because when he was alive, he was just kind of Booster Gold's best friend and kind of like a secondary Batman type billionaire, but plays out a hero. Yeah. So here, I think it's going to give him more to do, and the whole point of the Scarab, which has always been alien as far back as we can go. Even when Dan Garrett was running around as a pulp hero, it was this alien Scarab that he had found in Egypt. The fact that Fate shows up and says that it's magic blows my mind, because how are they going to rate this now?
Plus, you get bonus points for having Fate in your series, because I love Fate.
Of course.
Well,
you love Fate like I love Booster Gold, so I can't really
Yeah, exactly.
This is just keeping him warm until JSA kicks back up.
So I'm good, because that was the thing in the solicits that hit me hardest. Yeah. Dr. Fate has finally been cancelled. It's the last issue in November?
Yeah, number 18.
Yeah, and I thought maybe it survived the culling because it had gone so long. Every month was like there was no final issue on it. They're trying to rebirth.
No, because JSA is going to be in Wave 2, so it was just lasting till near the end of before Phase 2 started. That's all.
And this Strange is supposed to be a supporting character now in Blue Beetle going forward. So, and Giffen has experience writing that character too, so it should be fun.
Did Matt just call Fate Strange?
He said Strange, yes he did.
I did, didn't I? That's because he's Strange to Jace.
I do hope in JSA, though, we get both Fates.
Yeah.
Because I've been
There's more than one? That's why I like Doctor Strange more, because there's only one.
No, because you've got the new one at the minute that's in the series, but Ken Nelson popped back up, and this is Kent Nelson that we got in this.
So who's the new one, then?
His name's Khaled.
So is that the same guy as the one that was in Earth 2?
No. I think it's the same character name, maybe.
Okay.
I haven't read Earth 2 in so long.
Well, I did download the first trade of Strange for you, Connor, and when I have time, I will read it.
I'm not sure if you're doing this on purpose or not, but okay.
I did that one on purpose.
Between the two, by the way, I'm Team Fate. I'll put that out there.
Well, of course, you're a DC first guy. And also, once Jason Aaron stops writing Strange, I will no longer be writing for him.
You're on your bike. You're way into the sunset when Aaron hangs up his hat.
Oh, of course.
Right. So to sum up on Blue Beetle, which we have somehow managed to divert from
the whole DC universe
a numerous number of times now, but Banter's very good. First issue is basically just the one fight, teasing kind of the tone of the book. We get a little tease for the villain at the end, and that's pretty much it. I don't think there was anything else, but it was fun.
Nice Rebirth book.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, that'll take us on to Detective Comics 939. James Tynion IV writing, and Eddy Barrows is back on art for this issue.
Yes.
Oh boy.
Oh my god, I love this book.
Okay, so before we go on, Barrows brought back the portrait style.
The faded, the muted things. Yeah.
Yeah. God, I love that so much.
Fucking love it. It's so good.
It's such a great storytelling thing because it shows you this is an important moment. So if you're kind of just as I was reading it while eating lunch, and your mind kind of drifts, you're kind of like, oh wait, I got to pay attention to what.
It's like you can just flick through the book and you can just immediately at a glance know where the key moments are.
Yeah.
They're so good.
Yep.
Yes. So we start with the flashback to Bruce's parents' funeral, and we see young Kate come over and console young Bruce, which is mirrored very nicely later on in the issue when Batman realises what Tim's plan is. You know, and she says that same line again, you don't have to say anything. Well, she says just go the second time, but you know, that first part of it is the exact same. And it's a really nice mirroring of the whole thing. But so after the last issue, they go back to their base and they try to figure out what's going on, and Batman calls the president, and Tim speaks to Steph.
I love that when he's like, Alfred, get the black line ready. And you're like, what's the black line? And then he goes, Mr. President. I'm just like, only in comics, and this is what I love. And some people could chalk that up to because Batman, but like, he doesn't use it all the time. It's not like he's calling and chatting him up.
I like to think each of the Justice League has their own direct line to the president.
Yeah.
It'd be so good.
Yeah.
Have we lost Pete?
No.
I don't know. I'm just going to keep talking.
My stupid cat keeps walking in and out, so I'm having to roll over.
Oh, I thought we were already here.
Alright.
And also, Tim... Here's the one part that drove me a little nuts. Tim's whole design for the windows, and that there's replacement windows. And I was like, alright, I'll just accept it because it's a comic.
Hey, given their line of work, that's a very smart move.
It is, but just the way that he explained it, I was just like, you know...
It's the way he says it heals itself that's weird. If it just says it automatically fixes, like they just replace because they've got spares ready to go.
I was like, Tim, stop being precious about this.
But you say that, but he says it with such a grin on his face that you can't help but go, yeah, you go.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, do it.
Well,
clearly the best Robin.
But plot points, plot points here is that Tim is hanging up his cape because he's going to go off to university come the end of this, come the fall when the university year starts, I guess.
If he makes it that far.
If he makes it that far, yeah, true. But yeah, has a nice moment with Steph. But then the real plot of the issue comes in, and the drones that we knew about at the end of the last issue from the colony that are going to target people who they believe are suspects from the League of Shadows. Who Batman is like, no, that's a myth. He's picked targets.
When Batman's calling you crazy, you crazy.
And so the team all go out to try and all the targets, because they have, they're into computers and they know where they're targeting, so they go out to all the target zones. Clayface as Batman, and I love that they do the whole Dark Knight Returns thing where he's like going past the lightning and he's in the window. He's like, "I'm Batman, get out of here, danger is coming."
It goes, "Hey, Batman here." That's it. I love it though in the Dark Knight Returns shot because you just assume it's just a homage and that is Batman. And then it's the next panel. And it's like, okay, this is fantastic.
Yeah, and he turns into Clayface. He's like, "Oh, whatever works, works." They got out of the room.
Well, to be fair, he also screams, "Get out of the room, you something," or you're going to get clay in your face or something like that.
It's run, you'll get a full dose of Clayface.
There you go, that's the line. So he's just full on threatening them. He does what he knows. But no, so much fun. Cassie's scene's a little bit interesting. Wherever she goes, she goes in, she hits the light and says, "Right, get out, everyone," in a very obviously few words as possible, as Cass likes to do. But the interesting part here is that one of the guys who walks past her, the panel sort of lingers on him, lingers is a weird word to use. I'm thinking in terms of camera shots, but it focuses on him, and you see that his eyes are at least to me, they look like they're completely black.
They are.
He's definitely emphasized. So I'm wondering if the League of Shadows isn't as
that was my inclination. Was he was the target in this area, and it's real.
Well, I mean, I said it not last week, but the last issue I said there is no way in hell that we don't get a reveal either this arc or in like 5 arcs time, somewhere in this run, where oh shit, the League of Shadows is actually real. Oh dear, now we have to deal with them. So I guess this is just the seeding of that.
Because she's going by orphan now, right? Because I legit thought that was an orphanage at first. Because there's all the bunk beds, and it looks like there's just a bunch of people all in the same room. I'm not entirely sure what it is, but they look a bit old to be that.
Yeah, I just like how she says help. Like they go, "What are you here for?" And she says help.
Yeah.
So that was cool.
So of course Tim goes all hacky on the drones, and he can't stop them, but he can change the targets. So the book ends with Tim making himself the target for every single one of these drones. And he's got a bit of narration that says, look, this is just a math problem, this is not a fighting thing. This is just me calculating like the strategy here. So we won't know until next issue to see how he fares. But that is the big moment it goes in on.
I'm a little worried because there was a rumour maybe a month or so ago that Tim was having it done in. And I kind of dismissed it. I was like, nah, come on. Rebirth's going so well. And part of that's the whole return of all these characters and Tim being one of those selling points. Would they really kill him already?
So what we've learned is he's great at inventing things, right? And he's great with computers. So there's no Oracle right now or anybody to play that role. So what if he gets injured and becomes a new version of that? He's already in like a watchtower-like facility.
Just as long as they don't kill my boy Tim, I'm down.
I don't think
good enough.
Although it does feel like in a movie where the cop's like, "Yep, this is my last shift, and then I'm retired. 20 years in."
Yeah, just 2 years till retirement.
Yeah, and then
that's exactly what this is.
And then he's like, "Yeah, I'm going off to college in Ivy Town, and I'm taking that scholarship. Oh wait, I got to program the drones to attack me. Okay, cool."
Do you know what I love as well? It's Batman's concern for him.
Yep.
Like, because he doesn't realize at first, and then Steph tells him, and he just immediately. What?
Yeah. Sorry, I thought it was in my brain. I thought it was Steph that had told him, but that's over the call later, where she's like, "Yeah, enough of your call signs. This is very important."
Yeah. And then he immediately just runs off or glides off, I suppose.
Yeah, no, it's probably it's the emotional high point of the issue is when Batwoman does say, like I said earlier, she makes that callback to the flashback. And she says, "Don't say anything, just go," and Batman just goes. Like this
is that moment where if this was a trade, you'd be like, "Yeah, maybe I'll put it down for bed after this issue," and then you get to this and you're like, "Fuck, keep going."
Yeah. Yep.
This is that point.
Just one more.
Yeah.
But also, I love that they basically turned. What's Colonel? Is it Colonel Kane? Mm-hmm. What's Kate's dad's name?
Yeah.
Basically, he is now Bruce's General Lane, right? Yeah. Where he's related. He's in the military, and no matter what he tries,
absolute cock.
Yeah. So, and I like that. And just again, the black line to the president, and Bruce is like, "Yeah, we have to have a talk about this deep, dark, secret military organization." So, but no, it is the top Batman book. I wouldn't consider Nightwing a Batman book. It's a Bat Family book. But out of this and Batman, or any book that Batman's featured in, this is the crown jewel.
It's not even that much of a competition. I mean, the others are good.
Oh,
but this is such a cut above. For me, this is probably the best Rebirth book. It's such a cut above everything.
Yeah. I mean, that's a popular... I can see that.
Yeah. I mean, it hasn't got any Superman in it, so obviously you can't say that. But...
No, I mean, I'm just saying, like, it's between this and Superman.
To be fair, it was referenced. Alfred did say, "Do we need to call our friend in Metropolis?" So...
Yeah. again, it's this whole thing in Rebirth. They're not afraid to show Batman knows his limits.
Yeah. Well, and I think that whole Batman's a complete badass is thrown out the window now. I don't know if the editing team changed or they're just letting the writers tell the stories they want without, well, no, Batman has to be this, where there's like, well, no, he is a man. He is the man in the Justice League. So, and I think that's working out to his advantage. So,
yeah, I'd agree with that.
All right, well, if that last 30 seconds wasn't enough praise for Detective Comics, let's move on to Action Comics 962, written by Dan Jurgens, art by Steven Segovia. End of the arc.
Yeah.
I'm
kind of glad.
Has come to a close.
That's some 6+ issues of Doomsday, more than I need, but I'm not mad that I read.
I think it was
it's
exactly
6 issues of Doomsday that was much better than you'd expected. Because I remember when this was announced, we were like, "Oh, Doomsday."
Well, and it didn't help. The first 2 to 3 issues were just one long action sequence with bips and bops in between of like, whoa, what's Clark Kent doing here? And oh no, it's going after John. But it
wasn't until they moved out of Metropolis that it's kind of really come into its own.
Exactly. So, but I think this is the most interesting Doomsday's been since his creation, and I don't think that's a surprise with Jurgens. Yeah. He's the guy that created him. But I definitely think it's the smaller moments in this issue that drive it.
Yeah, well,
absolutely.
For a start, Superman and Wonder Woman fist pump. Or fist bump, I should say.
Yeah.
What? I'm not complaining.
Why not? They're not.
I'm just,
Yeah.
Superman and Wonder Woman fist bumped. I just didn't expect that.
Down for it.
I expect
and,
more
and
of
a building didn't fall, so it's a win.
Well, one of Superman's first lines is, okay, part 1 of this plan was getting him out of the city. Right, that part's done. Time for part 2.
Well, there's that, and then in Detective Comics, too, they're talking about how they're going to wall off sections so there's the least amount of collateral damage possible. So definitely the writers are taking shots at the cinematic universe, which I'm fine with.
Yeah.
It's easy. It's easy target, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, of course. I mean, it's a giant bullseye on a barn. But
yeah. Other notable things in this one. There's some clear, nice little foreshadowing things about Superman, because John wants to take one of the spaceships around the moon, which I smelled at because that was a nice little nod to the other book, especially since we know this one's set before it, of course.
Yeah.
So the main gist of this one, Superman's still fighting Doomsday. He's got a plan. He throws him to his secondary fortress, the one that he built.
This Superman. So we'll call him pre-52 or original OG Superman.
Yeah.
His fortress that had popped up in the Lois and Clark, where it's like in the side of a mountain.
Yeah.
And that's where he'd taken. What's Cyborg Superman's name? The crap.
Henshaw?
Yeah. Henshaw, yeah, where he'd taken Henshaw to recover and stuff, which that's great. And then I like that Superman uses the defenses in this one to kind of try to keep Doomsday at bay, but he can't. And
which is of course why Lois talks Wonder Woman into going back in to like.
And that leads to my favorite moment of the issue. It's where John asks Wonder Woman to go and help him.
Yep.
And I think that's fantastic. It's one of it's the little moments in this that are the best, and that's the one for me.
And then so they do that, and you kind of come to find out that Superman is doing what he should do with Doomsday, and it's throwing him into the Phantom Zone. With
the logical choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's a creature that loves to destroy, so take him to a place where he's intangible. It's, again, not difficult. So, and I like that they're kind of foreshadowing the Phantom Zone, too, where John's like, oh, well, what is that? And Superman's like, yeah, so the less we talk about it, the better. It's a prison.
I do feel like we're being groomed for a John book where, like, on his own, and he's dealing with some problems. Maybe it's another Superman has to take a break, or he has to go deal with something off planet. I don't know.
Maybe one day, but I think obviously a big part of it will just be setting up for Super Sons. I think what sticks out to me about that though is it's just a neat way of like John asking these questions. Is like for anyone who's just started reading comics here or just started reading Superman here,
Yep.
here's the explanations, and they don't feel forced because you've got a character here who doesn't know what the Phantom Zone is, who doesn't know what Doomsday is, or what happened when Superman fought Doomsday. You know, it's all new to him. Everything's fresh eyes through him. So
Yeah.
no, it all works in that regard. But of course, we got some more mysterious Mr. Oz mumblings as it went on, and then the ending, of course, the twist is that he intercepted the Doomsday transmission to the Phantom Zone, and he has Doomsday in a big.
Yep.
He did also confirm that this whole thing was him testing Superman.
Yeah, which we kind of put together as the more we read. But I thought it was more interesting what Oz had said, Mr. Oz, about that the Phantom Zone can hold such powerful beings, and we don't know the limits. So there's some more hinting there about what this actual plan could be.
Dr. Manhattan's going into the Phantom Zone, people.
Yeah.
Never know.
You never know. But yeah, so basically if Superman can formulate this plan on his own and come out differently, which I think was the test, then he is worthy of whatever. And also the Luthor scene I thought was pretty great.
I was just about to mention that. I love Luthor. We spoke about this, and I love the idea that he was there helping Metropolis.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because he should.
Before we move on, I want to stick with the whole Mr. Oz stuff for a second.
Okay.
Wouldn't it be interesting if this was indeed him testing Superman, that he was possibly ready for the fight against Dr. Manhattan, right? If this is what he's doing, if this is what he's trying to achieve here, wouldn't it be interesting if the next arc in, say, Detective was then him testing Batman, or the next arc of Flash was him testing Flash? Like, he goes around testing all of the, maybe not as in your face as this one was because it feel too similar.
See, I don't know, because there's something weird with the Superman and Lois. Remember? That's
I don't think it's just something weird about them. I just think they're not what they said he was. If my theory about them secretly just being from this universe, but time got fucked up, so the newer versions died.
I just think there's a reason why he's testing
Superman and not the League. Yeah, I think it's something to do with Superman, because otherwise I think we'd just get this him testing them in Justice League rather than in all the individual books. So I think it's something to do with Superman in particular.
It would be cool, because I would love to see the Justice League versus Dr. Manhattan, because that does seem like that is a being that can blink you from existence, right? That's what we've seen in Watchmen. Like Manhattan and the Comedian ended the Vietnam War. Just those two, basically. Yeah. So when you have that versus the Justice League, what exactly is that going to do?
Yeah, what do they do against Manhattan?
I have no doubt that the actual fight, when it comes, will be everyone.
Yeah.
Well, it's going to have to be. I mean, just the whole point of if Watchmen represents the cynical nature and of the 80s and all the stuff that Alan Moore wanted it to, and Rebirth's I don't want to use Rebirth, but it focused more on the legacy and the hope of superheroes versus the cynical nature of it, then I would feel like all of them would stand together.
It's very much one of those traditional, hope is one of those things where it's everyone comes together, isn't it? That's very much one of those tenets.
I'm going to make a plot prediction actually for when this fight happens. Mm-hmm. At some point, the Flash is going to escape certain death from Manhattan by going into the Speed Force, because Manhattan can't manipulate that or get there or whatever.
Well, and that is interesting too, because in Flash we've been looking at the dynamics of the Speed Force. I mean, that's what this whole first arc's been about. And with the gods pulling away from Diana in Wonder Woman, there's something afoot with each of them.
Maybe that's the whole thing in Flash. That the Speed Force knows what's going on. It's gone. Yeah. You need more help.
Yeah.
It's spitting out speedsters for him.
Yeah. So each of them. So I can see Pete's plan of if he is, and not necessarily testing.
Yeah, maybe he's not testing all, but I feel like he's testing Superman specifically, because Superman will either be the leader or the main muscle going against Manhattan.
Well, he's the most logical.
Yeah.
You know.
But I can see all of these, like, I can see the Speed Force, just like the Phantom Zone might play into, in a way, defeating Manhattan. I can see, you know, I'm not sure specifically with Green Lantern, but I'm sure something to do with the Spectrum of Light will come into play. Like, you know, maybe Manhattan can't affect the...
Willpower.
Well, maybe willpower, but maybe this ring we're going to get to in the next arc of Green Lanterns, I
can see them bringing back in the white light as well.
Yeah, the white light. Yeah.
Kyle, there's a Kyle story in that too, which is we pointed out was kind of odd.
That's true.
So, but no, I definitely where this is setting up with Mr. Oz, you know, intercepting Doomsday, and who knows why he's going to do that. I mean, he seems to control him, right? He's got him locked in.
Maybe during whatever event we get next year, where the League are trying to stop Manhattan, Oz will show up, open a portal, Doomsday will come out, and he'll be like, oh, by the way, I reprogrammed him to go after Manhattan to distract him for 10 minutes while the League have to, do something else.
I'm just thinking too, if it is Ozymandias, and we're all familiar with Watchmen, he is fine with casualties for the greater good. He's the ends justifies the means. So, yeah, I mean, Doomsday in his hands seems like more effective than a gigantic purple squid in space.
But that's a good point. But unlike Rorschach, Batman will take Ozymandias out after the fact.
Yeah,
he's not going to be like, in me, because I don't want to live in this world. That was like, no, man, you nuts, you're going to Arkham.
Yeah.
on a steady drip of whatever to keep your brain from working.
Yeah, you and Calendar Man are sharing a cell,
Yeah.
Low rent villain.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Well, obviously, Action got us theorising and speculating a lot more than anything else. But I thought the first arc was a solid, like, action-y. It was really pretty action sort of fight scene for a lot of it.
I think it could suffer a little in trade due to so many artists. Considering like the whole first half, this is one flowing action sequence, might suffer a little bit reading it as one thing.
It does help that none of the art was bad, though.
No, that is true. It was all good.
Yeah. So, but yeah, definitely. I mean, we talked that Detective is so much better than the rest of the Bat books, and I feel Superman's the same way. So this is the lesser, and not that it's lesser because it's bad. It's just it's telling a different story.
Yeah, it's the same with the Batman stuff. None of them are bad, but Detective is just better. It's the same with Superman. So, it's better.
You know,
It'll be interesting.
I've read I was just saying the last 6 years I've read far worse Superman stories. So I will take this.
Last 6. It's probably closer to 10 now at this point, really. I mean, it's not like Superman was that good before New 52 kicked in.
No, but that was the last time. It was 6 years ago. It was the last time that I'd read a great Superman story. So,
because I think before New 52, you had the Grounded arc was the last thing.
That was rough.
So pleasant or not so pleasant memories of that, as the case may be.
Yep.
So that's Action Comics. That'll take us on to Wonder Woman issue 5. Greg Rucka writing. Liam Sharp is back on the art, which means it's a present day, not a pleasant. It is a pleasant day. Well, for us to read it, not for the characters.
Speaking of Liam Sharp, he just got an exclusive contract with DC, did he not?
He did. He did get an exclusive contract with DC.
Yeah, well deserved, and a great steal for DC for if Wonder Woman does end. And he moves on. It's great to know we'll have him sticking around.
Yeah, I can see him drawing Batman. Not long after, whenever he's done with Wonder Woman.
Drawing anything, I don't care.
I hope they keep this colorist with him. Yeah, because it's fantastic.
Oh, that's that first page with the tree and the cat and the tree and the car and the headlights.
All the little church spire. Oh, it's gorgeous, isn't it?
Yeah, it's beautiful stuff. Beautiful stuff. So the gist of this issue is that Steve Trevor and his men have been captured by what's his name?
Urs Kataga.
No, not him. The human.
The other guy. Yeah.
It's Ulaga or something like that. Kulaga.
Yeah.
The names are not easy to remember, are they?
No. I don't have. Oh, I just remember Urs Kataga because I knew Pete was going to mess it up like last time. So I made sure to memorize it.
Urs Kataga.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Urs Kataga.
You should have heard me at work yesterday reading it, just yelling that out. They thought I was having a stroke. But yeah, so the priest to Urs Kataga which I don't have the issue in front of me to
Yeah.
look at.
But he's got them in, and he basically decides after interrogating Steve for a little bit about Wonder Woman and trying to figure out who he is and if he's special or whatever, that his men are going to be sacrificed and that Steve will act as a vessel for his transformation or his whatever, satanic ritual mumbo jumbo. Urskataga being the god of choice here. Meanwhile, Wonder Woman and Cheetah are still on the run from those monsters, but they get past them and they come to the same place because the issue essentially ends with Wonder Woman coming in and seeing the men in the cage and realizing that Steve must be around while the whole ritual's going on and the guy's like painting the blue lines on Steve's chest.
Yeah.
I love when she shows up and she's familiar with his crew.
Yeah.
Where they're so happy to see her, and she's genuinely happy to see them too.
It's the best moment of the issue. And do you know what I think is the great part about this? Is that this will probably all be built quite nicely in the year one arc, as she maybe meets some of them.
I'd expect her to towards the end of that arc,
Yep. Well, I mean, there's that whole picture of her mugshot where she's smiling that Steve carries, that we're bound to see how she ended up in that.
Yeah.
So, I also like the stuff with Cheetah and her whole being defined by this god because she, this was like a punishment, and Diana's taking it. It's like, well, no, don't forget who you were, and brings up Barbara and Minerva and how they were friends before she became Cheetah. And I just like the fact that we're getting a Wonder Woman that, for years, we had just focused on her as the warrior, and here we're getting her as the diplomat again, which is no surprise out of Rucka.
Yeah,
that was.
Not even just a diplomat. Just like going back to that scene where she shows up and the men are all happy to see her, just to see her and such
as a friend.
As a friend, as someone who they're happy to
see.
And
that's what I mean by diplomat is that she's not running in sword and shield first, like we've seen in the last couple of years. Is she's willing to talk and bring out these emotions, and be just a shoulder. Of stability for these people.
Also, it's worth pointing as well, because when she's talking to Cheetah, she mentions, I think it's Cheetah may actually be the one that says it, because she's sort of recapping the history of Wonder Woman and Themyscira, and she says, okay, when an Amazon leaves Themyscira, they're not meant to get back unless the gods will it, and you've went back many times. So I'm just wondering if by the end of year one, and the other sort of story, if we get maybe the first instance where she realizes, oh wait, I can go back. I'm not meant to be able to, but I still can.
Right. Yeah. Well, because remember in the year one arc, the gods are acting up, and that's what kind of facilitates. That's how Steve kind of gets there. Is there's like a void, and her getting bit by that snake at that Tim Burton looking tree. So.
I know what you meant.
You guys know it.
I know what you meant by that phrase, Matt. But I'm just going to pretend that there's a tree that looked like the face of Tim Burton.
Well, either way, it still had the crazy tendrils.
That might be more terrifying.
Yes. So. But so it's interesting to see there that he's weaving the story. And, I get if Rucka is kind of over DC again because he doesn't seem to play well with their editorial team. I'm sure him and Jeff are good friends, and him and some of the other guys, but...
You know what? I'm not even sure it's entirely that. Because he doesn't really do much for Marvel anyway. I think he just likes doing his own thing.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was going to say. He's so used to just doing it, with Lazarus and... what's that other one? The other detective book. Well, not just Black Magic, Stumptown, that he has. He just kind of does them when he wants, and that's when they come out. And then they announced he has this other one coming up soon. Yeah. I think, is that an Image book?
Yeah, another Image book. Yeah.
Yeah, so I just think he likes, Brubaker, he's the same way. He just kind of over the entire, Big Two system.
And Fraction did the same thing, didn't he?
Yep.
Yeah.
So, but, if he does leave, we'll have two so far great stories. And he's laying a foundation for a new version of Wonder Woman.
And
so,
hey, I mean, we know that Scott Snyder and Capullo are meant to be getting another big DC book next year. Maybe they're going to Wonder Woman. Just a thought.
Oh, that'd be great.
I'd be down for that.
I don't know. Just a thought. I mean, obviously it's going to be something big with those two. So just
Yeah.
That would make sense. The other stuff that happens in this book is, Etta goes to see Candy. Yeah, there you go. And Candy's revealed to be working for someone evil. There's evilness afoot. Because this weird robot thing shows up.
I wouldn't necessarily say evil. I would say it's a wild card.
It does, whoever's talking through that robot does say, "Oh, Steve's about to hand the Amazon right in our hands."
Yeah.
Sounds evil to me. There's evil afoot.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I think it's a swerve. I think it's a swerve.
Okay.
It feels too obvious, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But do we have any idea? Do we have any idea who's talking to her though? Do we know who this is?
No.
So they said something about the Doctor. Now, from a somewhat knowledge of Wonder Woman, one of her main villains was Dr. Psycho. So I think I would find it weird for him to address Doctor, Rucka to write that in and have it not be him. But again, it could be a swerve, and sometimes a swerve no swerve.
Hey, could be Hugo Strange for all we know.
So yeah, it's just a doctor. It could be another Amazonian that left the island, and
Dr. Manhattan. I'm kidding. I'm not being serious.
Was blue light coming from that robot?
There's one of the things that stuck out to me a little bit earlier. You know when that priest with Steve and there's that lovely panel layout of like the green husk thing. Yeah. Does that not remind you of like the
Swamp
body
Thing?
of an older Swamp Thing?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Like one of the other, like, I don't know if it is meant to be or not, but one of the previous Swamp Things.
It reminded me a lot of the way the panels were broken up in Scott Snyder's Swamp Thing. And all.
Yeah, Paquette did that, didn't he?
Yeah. That's what it reminded me of.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's an old agent of the Green.
I'd be down to see the Green tied into a bit because this is all this foresty jungle just kind of popped up, hasn't it?
Okay. And and Urskatag is a god. We don't know a god of what exactly, just power and.
Yeah, it'd be intriguing if the Green did pop up in this.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah. All right, Wonder Woman issue 5. Solid still, of course. That'll take us on to The Flash issue 5. Joshua Williamson writing and Felipe Watanabe on art. And I feel like I only know how to pronounce that name because of Ken Watanabe.
Ken Watanabe. Let them fight.
Yeah, that guy.
It's the only reason anyone knows that name.
Also the fake Ra's al Ghul. Him.
Yeah. And the main guy running Inception.
There you go. Yeah, that's him. And I was all like, I bought the airline, bitches. Yeah, I love that meme. That's such a great meme.
Yeah.
Great thing to come out of that movie. Anyway, so The Flash issue 5 focuses actually on Mina, who's the new character who we've been introduced to in this arc, who has speed powers. She is now calling herself Fast Track.
It's a good name.
That's always a bad sign.
It's not bad.
Anytime you give yourself a superhero name, bad news is afoot.
Well, it's funny. I had a feeling that by the end of this issue she might be in danger because they were doing a good job of making me like her. I mean, I already liked her. Don't get me wrong, but
they went out of their way this time, didn't they?
They were devoting their time. We got a little bit of Barry at the start, but the whole idea was that he had this day off from like training the speedsters. He was dealing with cop work and visiting Iris and all that.
Isn't
kind
it called
of stuff.
Flash's day off, or is it Barry's day off?
Flash's day off.
The title of the issue. Yeah,
because he is doing Barry stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we focus on Mina and also New Wally. New Wally comes to the Star Labs to. He's sort of hesitant. He doesn't want to go in. He doesn't want Iris to find out he's got speed powers. Yep. And Mina sort of like, okay, I'm going to let's go and train then. We'll go train in private, away from everyone else. Yep. And they end up saving a couple of window cleaners' lives who fall off. They both run up the building and they bond a little bit, and there's some good interaction between them. Wally can make lightning, and Mina can't do that yet, but Mina can send speedsters. You know, so it's developing.
Some trade off within the Speed Force.
Yeah, what their power sets are, and that was quite a good chunk of the issue, and I really liked that because it was the first solid amount of time I've had with New Wally, where I felt like I've really had a chance to kind of get to know him and kind of care about him. And that was the middle chunk of the issue, and then she gets back to Star Labs, and oh wait, that guy we caught last week, apparently he wasn't Godspeed, because there's Godspeed, and he's killing everyone. And, what was the girl's name that runs off?
Avery,
thank you. She runs off to get Barry. Barry speeds in at the end, and Godspeed has made off with Mina, and that's the big cliffhanger.
And here's the thing, I'm for certain she's okay.
Okay.
Because, she can find speedsters.
Right.
He needs her.
What does he need? Speedsters.
True.
So it's gonna be a swerve, and
at least this is what Matt was telling himself as he was crying into his pillow last night. He was just trying to sleep. He's like, she's okay. She needs him. He needs
that's what I was like at the end of Detective. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. So, well, I'm not that connected to Fast Track yet, but plus I know that Barry and Iris, in order to have Bart down the line, they end up together. So whatever break they need to take, that's fine.
Like Mina has to break up with them at some point, obviously.
Of course.
If not break up,
I think
die.
Yeah. You get the Spider-Man treatment. You know what I mean? Like, but no. It's a well-told story. Like, Williamson does this. Like, they start to come together. I just know people that have been complaining about it. Like, it feels off. As a longtime Flash fan, I don't see that.
Do you know? It's funny you bring this up, because I've seen complaints on the interwebs that and specifically after this issue, that it's moving too slow, and I'm like,
I don't get that.
Hang on, what? We've had the introduction of 2 new major characters, at least 2 or 3 supporting characters with defined personalities.
What I think it is I think some people, because they're not moving quickly with Godspeed as like developing what's going on with him, they see that as the plot moving slowly. But I'm like, there's so much character stuff happening in this issue. We learn so much about Mina and Wally and their relationship, and
the thing is, that's not the only plot. The plot of all these speedsters, where have they come from? That's moving forward. Why are they here? That's moving forward. What are they going to do? That's moving forward.
I really like it. I thought this might have been the best issue yet as well, with the exception of maybe the fact that we don't have Carmine Diadomenico on the art still.
Yeah.
But
I was a bit shaky on it at first, but it's really grown on me the last 3 issues or so, and I'm really into it now.
That said, though, I thought the art in this issue was better than the last fill-in that we had last week.
Me too.
Or last issue. Yeah. So that was good. I felt like the style was more consistent with the previous one. Certainly, the colorists are doing it. I mean, I don't even know. I didn't even check to see if it was different colorists, but the colorist seems consistent across the series at least. Mm-hmm. So everything's popping the same way.
Yeah. Also, I was just looking at the colorist and like trying to find that it is Barry Allen's Day Off, the title of the issue, not Flash's.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I thought, but either way, he's not very prevalent in it, and it really is Mina and Wally. Well, Kid Flash Wally, not Titans Wally. But,
You know how last issue we were talking about August and his potential stuff with Godspeed? Did anyone else think he was a bit of a smarmy prick in this, where in the police stuff, where he was like, I'm not going to let it get in the way of my job. We've got cases to do. Yeah. And Barry's always behind. It's like, it feels like he's trying to show him up a bit.
Yep. Anytime Flash is involved, time travel's in play somehow, like especially Barry Allen. So I'm not.
He's suspect number 1, right? That's all I'm saying.
He is very much suspect number 1, because it's definitely not. From what we've seen out of Mina, you can kind of rule her out just because,
especially since the first
time role to play.
The first time Godspeed showed up, and we weren't there to see it. We came in the aftermath, and like August was lying there hurt from it. It's like, well, that's easy enough for him to fake. Like,
and also, Godspeed knew where the Speed Force facility was, the training facility.
Yep.
So I'm inclined to think it's almost certainly one of them speedsters now. Like, even if we weren't before, the fact that he knew to go there tells me it was one of them.
Yep.
So that's where we are with the Flash. I thought it was a great issue.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
consistently good. So I'm not too worried. Definitely a much better read than Venditti, and that's not shots at Venditti. I don't be like, oh, what's going on? I'm eager to.
That is a shot at Venditti.
Issue. That is a shot at Venditti, but nothing against the man person.
That wasn't a shot at Venditti, but let me pull out my minigun and take a few more.
I'm just saying.
Let's move on to Batgirl issue 2, written by Hope Larson and art by Rafael Albuquerque. So we move to Singapore, and my first main thought in this issue is, get this douchebag away from Barbara. This man is not Dick. Get him away. Matt's Ultroning as well at this point in time. This man's not Dick. What? Get your lips off, Barbara. What are you doing?
Yeah.
This man is a dick.
Is a dick, sure, but not the dick.
Yeah. I'm not digging on Kai. He's too shifty. Like, who can just make a phone call and be like, yo, we're staying at a better place?
Yeah.
Then why are you on the run, bro? Like,
Also, it feels a bit off because this is before the Nightwing arc, right?
No, this part
Or
will
is
be
it
after the Nightwing. Because she said she was in Japan when she came to see him, so that
Right.
so
Because it seems weird that she's coming back to Dick in between this, like we saw in Nightwing.
no. I think her storming off in Nightwing issue 3 is before this.
Right. Okay.
I think that's before she even meets Kai for the first time in issue 1 of Batgirl. She's already stormed off away from Dick.
Okay.
mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
that's where I sync things up there. I really like this issue. Art's still great, obviously. It's still got that fun poppiness to it. The sort of the reveal at the end that the girl she's fighting in the tournament or the scheduled fight is the evil schoolgirl that she was fighting in Japan. Was a nice touch because her being a bit of a doofus and getting punched and then looking like all confused that she got punched is actually kind of fun and adorable and
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And it's not often that I'll say a woman getting punched is adorable, but in comic book form with her like squished face, it kind of is.
And it's not a life or death situation.
Oh no,
like, she's not being a superhero.
It's a match.
It's a sparring session. Yeah. So
it's fine in a fight, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a goofy face after she gets punched. She's like, like, you know.
Yeah, and I like this the teacher character that's talking about how it's hard to find women to fight in Singapore because of the social structure there, and so they have a hard time getting them there, and that's why she's back. So she's a great addition. Hope she's around for a little bit longer.
Yeah, it depends how long we stay in this city, doesn't it?
Well, I think since this person she's fighting's turned out to be this schoolgirl character, she's probably going to be inclined to stick around and investigate here rather than move on super quick.
Yeah.
But no, Kai has gone at the end of the first arc either by death or because he's such a douchebag. She tells him to fuck off, like written all over him.
I still think he's involved in something evil or shady.
Oh yeah, he's shady as hell. There's something going on.
Yeah.
But I think he ends up in prison.
I think he's gonna. I mean, the schoolgirl was after him for a reason, and I feel like he's using Barbara. I've seen enough '80s movies with travel problems like this. He's using Barbara as cover to travel around.
Probably
take the heat off of him. So
I feel inclined to wonder: does he actually know about Barbara, and he's also using her as protection?
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, I don't know, but perhaps.
It will share because she lies to him and says that she was. What did she say she was doing? Going to the library.
Yeah.
And so she comes back battered, and she's like, "Yep, it's a pretty heavy library." So,
I hope she kicks him in the nuts when she realizes what he's up to.
She don't take shit from no one. You see how she treats Dick when he fucks up, and she loves Dick. So.
Yeah.
We all love Dick.
Especially Peter.
Yeah.
You love Dick too, man. Don't sell yourself short.
Not as much as you do, my friend. This guy's an old school Dick lover.
It's never getting old.
I feel like it's kind of a trend in these Rebirth books, but another shout out to the colorist. I love all these oranges and yellows, and they're just really popping out.
I think what's really standing out about the art and the colorists in Rebirth is that they're letting them do lots of different things that are suitable for the books. Like, look at Detective. Everything's really moody and shadowy, and it's great, but it fits what's going on. And then you come over to Batgirl, and everything's poppy and vibrant, and it's got a color scheme. Everything's yellows
it's
and
oranges, yellows, and purples.
I don't think a lot of it takes place at night in Batgirl.
No,
almost none of it.
Yeah,
because the whole thing in the first issue was the fight was in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
It almost makes me look forward to getting back to Gotham in Arc 2 so that we can get some Batgirl at night action, but,
It'll be really nice to see the colour palette shift as well to reflect that.
However, not the type that was in the Killing Joke animated movie, not that type of Batgirl at night action.
No, don't, stay away.
Just to be clear.
Stay away.
Dear. But no, I really liked Batgirl issue 2. It was
me too.
Fun.
Great issue.
Voice was down. Excellent. Next up, Titans issue 2. Dan Abnett writing and Brett Booth on art. as been typical. And so Abracadabra, who came back to life, or sort of remembered who he was and morphed back into him, at the end of the last issue, is downtown. Is it Central City or Keystone City? I can't remember which city it is.
I think he's in Keystone because they're making that because Barry and Iris are in Central, and they're showing that Linda and this Wally.
Yeah, it's Keystone. You're right. Yeah, it's definitely Keystone. I just couldn't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah.
So he's in Keystone, and he's like using his magic to make duplicates of all the Teen Titans, of what they were like in the past. So you've got
why reasons.
Do you need a reason?
Would have been nice.
A reason of like.
I took it as he feuded with them, so he was using their image to attack people.
I get him using with Wally because he has a past with Wally West, right? Mm-hmm. But the rest of them, it felt weird. I know I have faith in Abnett as a writer that it's going to reveal it because Titans Hunt took a little bit to get into too, just because he's thrown so much at you in the beginning, so it pays off in the end. But I was just like, I had to go back and reread the first couple pages.
Honestly, I think for me, it was never really an issue because, much like Titans Hunt, the actual stuff that's just there for the action is just kind of there for the action because they need something to fight. For me, it was Linda, like, wait, that's that guy that popped out of the Speed Force, and like all that stuff, you know?
And that's what I liked, too. Yeah. I liked when it focused on her in the beginning, and when she's like, Linda Park, reporter, you know? Yeah. And
Linda Park, Super News.
Yeah, Super News. That's what it was. And so, but I like how this is basically the Wally book, so I'll take that.
Yeah, it can absolutely stay the Wally book if it wants to.
Yeah.
I'm okay. Because Dick's got his own
I think it'll shift after the first arc.
Probably, but I don't need it to. It could stay the Wally book, and I'd be fine with it.
Yeah, but
I mean, he could be the central character because he brought them all back.
Yeah, but I can see them doing arcs focusing on the other ones without books mainly.
Yeah.
Not Dick quite as much. I can see him kind of getting the shaft a little bit. Well, thanks, Matt.
Yeah, he has his own double shipping book, so Dick doesn't need the time. He can just be the leader here. He can play the Cyclops role.
Yeah.
But cooler because he's Dick.
Anyways.
So the issue ends. Wally tries to grab Garth out the way, or Tempest if you prefer to use his hero name, but he gets like shocked with Kadabra's
magic.
His wand stuff.
His wand stuff, his magic. That was basically it. It was mostly a fighting issue. There was a lot of cool stuff though as they were fighting the younger versions of themselves. I guess a bit of self-analysis going on as like they were like wisecracking to the younger selves.
I liked Arsenal and Donna Troy. And he's like, I love you, and it shocks the younger Donna.
But he's got the lasso around him. So it's like, and she's like, you what? Like,
you can't tell a lie. He's like, I'm not lying, sweetheart. Like, this is the Arsenal that I like. You know, the quick.
Although I think it was the older Donna who reacted to it though.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she obviously assumes that the feelings are still there.
Right.
That was a good moment actually. I really liked that.
There was some fun moments, but like I say, I'm with Matt. Like, why was this happening?
Yeah.
Like,
he just remembered who he was, and now he's like, I'm going to attack Keystone City with copies of the Titans because I know magic.
It does feel like we missed something a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get more on that, and if we don't, I'm not too fussed because I feel like he's not like this major villain. He's here for this first arc to cause chaos.
It's not a deal breaker, but it would have been nice.
I think. I mean, I'm enjoying Titans. It's definitely not at the top of my like rankings ever, but I'm enjoying this way more than Aquaman, which is Abnett's other book.
Yeah, I still got to read that. It's in a week.
Oh dear.
It's all right. To be fair, I took the week off. Not last week, but 3 weeks ago now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When the issue before of Aquaman was out, and I read them both like 15 minutes before we recorded last week. So.
Are we even sure that Matt read Titans this week? I'm not.
Yes, I did. How would I know? How would I know about Donna Troy and Arsenal?
Because he said Linda Park news, channel news, not super news. So details are awry here. Something's not adding up now. But that was Titans. There wasn't a whole lot of stuff in it. It was just the fun banter, the I love you moment, and then mainly the highlight was the Linda Park stuff, I thought.
It's fun, but it's weird because it's only a monthly book. It feels like we're not getting any development compared to all these doubles.
Yeah, this one feels like it should be double shipping more than any of the others.
I would rather, make this double shipping and switch Aquaman to single.
Yeah.
Do that.
Yeah.
I'd be down for that.
Yeah, I'd be game for that. But no, that's Titans. So next up, we are on to Connor's Corner for the week.
Oh shit! Already?
Yeah.
Oh,
Connor's
boy.
Corner. And first up, this one wasn't meant to be Connor's Corner, but Matt just didn't get around to it. So,
Okay.
Deathstroke issue 1, Christopher Priest and Carlo Pagulayam.
Sure.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
I think I went with Pagulayam last time.
Pagulayam. Yeah, sure. Yeah, I can accept that. Deathstroke issue 1. I was going to read it. I said last time that I would read issue 1 and give it a try.
And then you just fussied out.
Well, no, I got about 3 pages in, and I was like, I really don't want to read this, because I left this till last, of course, after the other books, and I didn't really want to read this there, and I was like, nah, I'll do it later, I'll do it sometime before we record, and then every time I thought about doing it, I'm like, I really don't want to, so, I didn't do it, so Deathstroke's just not for me, no, not going to talk about quality or anything, it's just not for me, but, there you go, Connor.
It's a shame, because it's a good book. It follows on with... It has the time jumping around stuff. You know, that we saw in the last issue, but it doesn't explicitly say that it's jumping around in time. It's just you get those... The black title panels that kind of intersperse it, and you just figure out that shit's moving. And it continues that. I imagine that's just going to be a stylistic format for the whole book now.
At least the first arc, I'd imagine.
Well, yeah, for the time being. Yeah. I mean, at first I thought maybe it was just the Rebirth, but now we got it in the issue 1 as well. I assume it's just that's its style for now.
Is this one where the Rebirth issue was essentially issue 1?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it's more from what I only read a page, so I can just say from where it picks off. The zero issue the Rebirth felt like a prologue to where they're just going to tell you this is what you kind of need to know, and then
I feel like you could have skipped it and you'd still get most of it, but it does set up a lot in that Rebirth issue at the same time, because this is basically what happened with Wintergreen. It's pretty much what this issue is, because obviously we see him at the end of the last one. Yeah. And the whole point is they were like faking his death and stuff like that, and to get someone off his back, and they had a code word, and when he was saying it, Deathstroke didn't come for him, and we're not entirely sure what happened there, like why, but he's been waiting locked up in this cave place for I think it's like a year, and this whole issue is like them, like he's rescuing him and they're going out and they're escaping. And he doesn't really react like you'd expect. He's kind of very nonchalant about the whole thing. And you get to the end of the issue and it's because he'd assumed the whole thing had been another hallucination. Because he says he's been hallucinating Slade coming and rescuing him like 150 times.
Oh, no.
And he just thought this was it again. So Slade just punches him in the face and he's like, oh shit, this is real. And then just starts going off at him like, "What the fuck took you so long?"
Yeah,
it's very good.
Definitely looking forward to reading this.
Yeah, we got some more stuff with Slade's family life, less to do with the kids, but a bit more with his wife, and like what the home situation was like before he left. And again, it's kind of like, you know how at the start of the Rebirth issue we saw him, the kid, like you're only ever around. And then you fuck mom and leave. Mm-hmm. That's pretty much what we see here.
Gotcha.
And like literally to the point where they fuck, and then she goes, "I want a divorce," and he goes, "No." Like just really casually from both of them.
Yeah. Well, from also I looked ahead a page. There was a page of like who Slade is and how he like he enlisted and was like this badass soldier, and then tried to come home, and then it was like the Hurt Locker, and and then he went back.
It goes through war hero, husband, father, restless warrior, prisoner of war, and then world's deadliest assassin. But it leaves world's deadliest assassin, like all the rest of them, on a ... question mark, implying that there's something next still. Because all the others were like he was a decorated war hero ... question mark, then into the next thing, and world's deadliest assassin ends on that as well. So it's like, what are we going to see next? But yeah, no, it's good. If you like the Rebirth, you'll probably enjoy this. Can't see why not. It's very similar.
No, I'm not dad.
Of course you don't, because you're a dick, and not the good kind.
Nothing to add makes me a dick. All right.
Well, no. What makes you a dick is deciding not to read this when it's a good quality issue.
Not only is he a dick, but he loves dick. That's like a dick squared.
Oh dear. All right. Next up
which one do you want next?
Next up in Connor's corner is the Hellblazer issue 1. Simon Oliver writing and Moritat on art.
Yeah, this is awesome. Just you two are both just cunts.
No, Matt, come on.
What's up?
Let's be adults about this here. Let's not make fart noises.
Look, I don't know how much you guys actually disliked. I can't remember now. Like, if you thought it was bad, or if you just didn't like Constantine that much.
I don't care about Constantine, so.
Right. Well, this is basically a team up between Constantine and Swamp Thing, and that's pretty much going to be the arc going forward.
Wow.
And I'm down for that. Because like Swamp Thing just pops up, he's like, "Yeah, I need a favor. You owe me, so come on." And it's basically Abby is missing from the rot.
Of course
he wants Constantine to find her. But there's some good banter between them.
Right.
Because he goes, "Oh, she's just not in the rot," and Constantine's like, "Yeah, nothing like a bit of stalking." And Swamp Thing's like, "I wasn't stalking. I was concerned." And Constantine goes, "Try telling that to the judge."
Yeah.
And there's a lot of fun banter like that. The opening is very interesting. It opens with the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand.
Okay.
So World War One.
Yeah. And it sets up that there's these two guys trying to kill him, and one trying to kill him, and two trying to pull him away, and it sets up that there was something going on with it, and then the end of it is these guys are still alive, and they're looking older, but not ancient old.
Not that much.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
And it's I'm intrigued as to how they're going to tie this in with World War One. I'll be honest.
Yeah, I'm more interested in how they're doing that. So not enough to read the book, but I will be tuned into Connor's Corner with Hellblazer. Because just a quick thing on World War One. So the guy that shot Franz Ferdinand, like, it was the most like lucky thing ever. Like they had tried and they couldn't get it right into position, so he went to go have a sandwich and just kept his gun on him. And as he came out of the sandwich shop, there was Archduke Franz Ferdinand walking by him, and boom, he got him. So I'm interested to see if they play with the actual history of, like they did some magic stuff to play with that or not. So,
No, it's interesting. I really like the art. I don't know if you enjoy it. It's the same guy, but
yeah,
it looks
was
great.
fine last time.
Yeah. I really like his Swamp Thing and the way he forms out of plant, because you have bits where he just kind of comes up as a stalk for his body and then just a head on the top of the stalk, and it looks great.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's just fun. There's a lot of good banter, and that's kind of good enough.
There's always room for a Constantine book, I feel. I mean, it's weird that it's not Vertigo, since that was like...
Yeah, again, I feel like it does suffer a little bit from that. I think that's always going to be something in the back of your mind, like, could they push it further if this was Vertigo?
Yeah.
But I'll take what I can get.
That's cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
So last up in Connor's Corner, packed edition of Connor's Corner this week. Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps issue 3. Robert Venditti on art, writing, and on art is Rafa Sandoval.
look, his writing's shaky enough. Let's not see how he's on that.
Yeah.
Hey, do you know how they keep doing this thing? Every so often when an artist will try writing, like try being a writer for a little while.
And it very rarely works.
Yeah, I'd love to see what sort of doodles that some of the writers would do if they had to do the art for their own book.
I do know Johns does storyboard his own. Well, he used to, with very his own style of art, which he said would never be printed. But he has that gene there, and Bendis
Morrison
does
the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So because Bendis came up as an artist, like the Torso. I didn't realize this until a couple weeks ago. He shares story, but he drew the entire thing. So yeah, interesting. But
we got Sean Gordon Murphy doing his Batman soon, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm. And he's done Punk Rock Jesus too, where he drew and wrote.
That was pretty good, right?
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah.
So yeah.
But yeah, the issue here. I went in. I was like, all right, I'm good. I want more guy stuff. That stuff was the best part, and I got about 2 pages. It starts with it. It starts with Jon Stewart trying to contact Guy, and he's like, "God damn it, where are you? You better not be dead." And then it just cuts to Guy saying in unknown space, and it just is like, "Oh, come on, you lightweights." And you just see a bunch of shadows and him like in a boxing stance, blood on his knuckles. And then that's it. No more Guy for the rest of the issue.
No more Matt for the rest of this run either.
But the thing is, it's like, but I want more. I want that stuff. But if I'm only going to get it every other issue, is it worth it?
What was the rest of the stuff?
Do you care that much? I mean, it's just Hal versus the Sinestro Corps stuff. The guys that were there before and back in the first issue. Yeah, they call in some reinforcements, and he's still going. And so the Sinestros kidnap a bunch of the citizens and say they've been breaking the law, and they're like, "What law?" It's like, "Yeah, we make the law, whatever we want."
They're essentially the sheriff of Nottingham.
Yes. And Hal's trying to save the kid, and he's like, "Oh, you." He keeps going, "I can save everyone," but there's something going on with the Sinestro's rings where all the fear in the universe. Which is why they're doing it. They're feeding the fear machine, is what they were saying. They want to take the strongest people to feed it to it because it creates more fear. I'm not entirely
These
sure.
guys are the police force right now.
But basically, the more fear, the more in the atmosphere around them, the more their rings charge. So they're getting up to like 150% instead of the usual 100. And they're just swarming around Hal, and they bring him down, and he doesn't save the kid, and the kid gets taken. And then the last page is Hal just crashed on the earth, not the earth, but like on the ground, beaten, and they're saying, just tell Sinestro we got him sorted.
So is it doing a thing like Wonder Woman almost, where it's flipping to the other set of characters every second issue?
I think it might be, where we'll get like a small bit of the other one, because we got like 2 pages here. I think in the first issue we got like 1 page at the end.
Yeah.
I want my Green Lantern Corps back, damn it. I was hopeful.
I know. That's the thing. The stuff that's like John and Guy, I'm really into. It's like I want that stuff.
Yeah.
And all this Hal and the Sinestro stuff, I couldn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
I really couldn't. But I'm thinking I'm going to stick with it a couple, maybe it's the end of the arc, and see if it evens out with how much we get.
Yeah.
If it is 50-50, that's probably enough for me to stick around with the core for now.
And then it may or may not fall through the orange cracks and into the abyss of red. That currently the only completely 100% drop book is Red Hood and the Outlaws. Well, actually, no, even that's not completely dropped yet.
No.
I'm waiting for the team. I want to see the team in action, and I just...
You fool. Yeah, you gotta play with your hope and make a noose out of it and then hang it from
Bizarro hasn't even been mentioned yet, let alone show up.
It's gonna be 8 issues before they team up, Connor. I hope you know this.
No, don't do that to me. I can't take that.
That's what happens. But you're going to get another 3 origin scenes out of Jason Todd. And how he stole the
only thing I can be truly grateful for is that it's a monthly book and not a twice.
Yeah, so it'll take
That's
8
true.
months for them to team up.
But
instead of
it's
4.
it's only 10 minutes every month instead of shit. This is every other week. It feels a lot more like we mentioned with Titans that it feels so long, even though we're used to waiting a month.
Yeah.
It feels long, given everything else is every 2 weeks now.
Yeah, no, it does. All right, well, that's all the reviews for this week's books, which leads us to our rounding up of things. So, favourite panel of the week? This is a tough one, because there's a lot of good things. But I am actually tempted to say that just purely for the art, I'm going to go with that first panel on Wonder Woman.
Okay.
It's a gorgeous panel.
That street, that light, the colorist on that is like doing wonders. So
Did you read the story about how that was accidental?
oh yeah, I seen his tweet about how he just shouted through his wife, I don't know what to do in this first page, and she shouted back, draw a big tree.
Yeah, and that was he misheard her. She actually said, "Get me a cup of tea." But hey, whatever works.
And then he said, yeah, I'll put a cat in it, and that'll look like be a symbolic thing because cheetah. Yeah. Oh dear.
Whatever works.
Whatever works, pretty much. So I'm going to go with that. Matt?
I'm going to go with, and Connor's probably going to be mad, but the last page of Detective with Tim surrounded by the drones. Just because, and it looked great.
Well, because then Connor can't have it, so that's why.
So I'm currently torn between 3 panels in Detective. And
that's
one
good.
of them.
Yeah. Well, good.
Yeah.
I didn't steal it then.
Yeah. I can't. Which one do I go with?
Oh, God.
I'll go with this one.
Read some elevator music playing while Connor makes his decision.
Look, there's a lot of good panels. They're tough choices. I'm going to go with the one where it's Tim walking out onto the roof and the lightning's there. And he's just waiting. It's just before he sees all the lights from the drones coming, but he knows they're coming, and he's just stepping up to the plate, basically. But yeah, fucking love that shot.
All right, so that'll take us on to our top 5s of the week, and maybe a bottom book as well. Yeah, sure. Let's do that. All right, so top 5. I'm not ready yet. Who wants to go first?
I'll go.
Okay, Matt's going first.
Yeah, I'll number 1, Detective, because of all the reasons that we said. Praise just all over it. And then number 2 is going to be Wonder Woman. And it's solid. I mean, Rucka going back and forth, and he's killing it with that method. And then I'll go Batgirl. The art and the story came together so well. Like we talked earlier, the oranges and the yellows. And then Action Comics. Superman. It's fun. Ended the current arc. And then The Flash. And then if I had to pick one that was the worst, man, that one's tough this week because they're all kind of about even. But I'd have to go Titans just because it was a little weird with Abracadabra. And it's not in terms of quality, but just I think Blue Beetle and what other one did I miss that we talked about? We're just real good. So that's where I'll leave that.
Well, I think that was all 7 that you read, Matt. There.
Yeah.
I missed one. All right, I'll go. Detective number 1, Batgirl number 2, The Flash issue 3. Not issue 3. You know what I mean? The Flash number 3. Then Wonder Woman, and then in 5th place I will probably go Blue Beetle. Okay. So there's your 5. And as for worst, this is tough this week. Because I read 7 books and I liked all 7 books.
Yeah.
So
Me too.
it's actually really tough to pick one.
I have a little bit of an easier job come to that now.
Yeah, you've got your own little weird ginger corner of the universe that you can hide in. I'd probably go Titan. Yeah. So our Titans are action. They're definitely the bottom 2, but they're both still solid. So there you go.
All right. Number 1. I'm gonna go Detective, aren't I? Let's be honest. What else is it gonna be?
Yep.
2, I'm gonna go with Batgirl. 3 Blue Beetle, 4 Flash, and 5 Wonder Woman. Last is Hal Jordan, because it was too much fucking Hal Jordan. I mean, the clue's in the name, but it does say "and the Green Lantern Corps," and I want more of that.
Yeah.
If I was going to go with the ones, like, just to put me on an equal playing field with you guys, I would also say Titans as the weakest of that 7.
Cool.
Yeah.
Right. There you go. That's our rankings for this week. So normally at this point of the show, I would then say, "Hey, here's what's coming next week. This is all the things we'll be talking about. Get excited for next Wednesday. Fun stuff." Unfortunately, we have the dreaded 5th week of the month, or the 5th Wednesday
that already?
of the month. Yep, it's that already.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
And there isn't a single DC book coming out. Well, at least not the ones we cover. There's probably some of the weird holdover ones that are kicking about, but none of the Rebirth-related books are coming out next week. So next week is going to be a weird episode because we're going to have no books. So we're going to be having some discussions, but not about anything in particular. It'll just be a fun, light-hearted episode, so if you want to join in for that, that'd be great. If you don't want to, you want to skip till we have books again the following week, fair enough. I can't really blame you all that much. But we'll have some fun.
Geez, do you know what is coming out next week?
What's it?
No.
One of Hitch's Justice League of America issues. Sorry, I just thought I'll have a look what's actually coming next week. I'm intrigued.
I know someone within the group who will remain nameless will be very excited for that.
Oh, there's some other interesting stuff. You know, the last print issue of Legend of Wonder Woman, which you should be reading.
Well, if you wonder why we're laughing at that so much, it's because Justice League of America by Hitch, those last 2 issues, or whatever it is, have been cancelled, then resolicited, then cancelled, and then resolicited. It has been a roller coaster ride to see if they'll ever actually see the light of day.
I genuinely wasn't sure that would ever come out.
I'm still not convinced. And until someone actually holds it up in front of my face and then actually goes through it page by page to prove that there's actually
what
something.
What if it's available to buy on Comixology? It's there. Is that enough?
No, because just because there's a cover does not mean there's actually a comic book inside it, right? I won't believe it. Not that
he just blew my mind.
You really think they'll charge you $3.99 for just the cover on Comixology? That's right. It's a $3.99 book.
Yeah, well, it always was. Yeah, so it's just this weird holdover of things that.
There's actually a bunch of annuals. Interestingly, there's the Bombshells annual, Earth 2 Society annual, Gotham Academy's got an annual.
But nothing that we cover.
No, but there are still annuals for the 5th week.
Yeah, there's stuff. I just checked, and it's a very light week, and my wallet is thankful because all this DC is really putting a hamper on my.
But
money.
I don't usually tell people about anything in those series because we don't cover them. So nothing next week. So come in for a light. Don't have to read anything. You can just come in and enjoy the random conversation about DC Comics. Now I say random. There will be some kind of structure to it. I will actually plan something. Don't worry. It won't be that.
Pete's got a dice with words on it, and that's how we're going.
Pull things out of a hat.
Hey! Questions out of a hat may not be such a bad idea.
Actually.
No.
If that's the case, go comment on the YouTube or Twitter or email questions.
What is the Twitter, Connor?
I believe we're at _fuzz.
Oh, very good.
Oh,
Matt, what's the email?
I don't listen, so he got me.
Alright then. Listen to the noise then.
At mild_fuzz.net.org.
Oh, God. You can email us mailedfuzz@gmail.com. mailedfuzz@gmail.com. So you can do that and comment on the video and all that jazz, and like and subscribe and rate us on iTunes and all that other stuff that people do to help out people, because it helps us out if you do all that kind of thing. Spreads the show, spreads the love, and all that kind of thing. So yeah, we'll be back next week. It's also worth mentioning that if you're used to us, we tend to have this up for people either very late on a Friday or late-ish on a Saturday. It's just worth mentioning that if you're sort of used to that sort of flip-flop between the two, most of the next month will be the Saturday instead. Just a bit of warning, just in case you're expecting it on the Friday, you can know you can go to bed.
It's down to people at my work taking holidays. Those selfish bastards.
So what he really meant to say there was it's all his fault. Connor's schedule is the one that's pushing us back.
Yeah.
Technically yes, but if you really want to, you can blame my boss for giving me the shifts.
Sure.
All right, Connor's boss, good job making him miserable.
What a dick.
I don't know, like anyone who makes Connor miserable is A-okay in my book.
I mean, yeah, you would think that.
Oh dear. Okay, so that'll bring an end to this week's Comics from the Multiverse. Thank you very much to everyone who's been watching and or listening. Check out the other stuff we do on the YouTube channels, Mailed Fuzz TV and Mailed Fuzz Movies. We talk about all that kind of stuff. And check out the website, mailedfuzz.org, if you want the audio versions of a lot of the stuff we do. Check out the Facebook group. Just search Mailed Fuzz on Facebook. You'll find the group. You'll see my name as the administrator. That's how you know it's us. Just head in there if you want to join us and converse and stuff. But yeah, that's us, guys. Thanks very much once again. We will see you next week for a weird week of no books. Keep reading comics, and always remember, never get lost in the Speed Force.
Long live the Legion.